welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to do a very quick video. Today is Veterans Day, so happy Veterans Day to all of my friends and family who have served in the United States military or is currently serving. Thank you so much for your service. I wanted to do a video, kind of like an update video on what's been happening with me, where in the world I am, just like a general update video. I know that my 30 plus crew, you guys are waiting for this basic training video. I promise you that basic training, my experience was not gravely different from a lot of the videos that you've watched. I know that if you're watching this video, you've probably watched tons of basic training videos already. So I'm pretty sure, I just don't think it's that unique. However, I am going to commit to making a video probably this weekend on my basic training experience. I'm putting that in this video so you guys can hold me accountable to that. So I wanted to share today about I guess it's rather personal. It's a health issue that I encountered, and I'll tell you the story, where I am, what I'm dealing with, how I'm dealing with it, because it's ongoing. So I went to basic training in October of last year, and about the second week of training, I got incredibly sick. So if almost felt deathly sick. I could be exaggerating, but it was wintertime. It was very cold, and I was terribly sick. My mucus went from just like a clear type of mucus to an orange, burnt orange color. It just went from bad to worse pretty quickly. During a run in basic training, I passed out. I struggled greatly with breathing. And to be 100% honest, pretty much everybody just said, suck it up. Suck it up, buttercup. They just was you're okay. Everybody gets sick in basic training. You're not dying. I knew how I felt though. I understood what people were saying. I understood what my drill sergeants were saying, but I also knew how I felt. And I passed out maybe, 3 or 4 days before it was time for us to graduate. I want to say it was our final company run. I woke up that morning with so much anxiety because I already knew that it was going to be difficult for me. Nevertheless, so we're now at the end of basic training. I'm still sick. I'm still struggling to breathe. And I went right on to AIT. I graduated basic training on time. I went to AIT on time. Got to AIT, and just like in basic training, you have alternating physical training days. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are your run days, and then Tuesday, Thursday are your strength days. So every run day, I woke up with so much anxiety. It got to the point of depression, and it got pretty severe as well, because I knew in my heart that something was wrong. So I'm, in AIT, pushing hard, not giving up, being the soldier that I am. And I went to sit call a few times, no real progress, no real, information. I felt like the physician assistants were guessing a lot. They didn't really know what was going on. They wouldn't give me the proper medication. Even though I described that my mucus was turning rainbow colors, I was never issued any antibiotics. I think we took at least 3 PT tests in AIT, passed all 3. And once I completed AIT, I knew I was going to be a holdover for a little while. And I knew that, that's another video. I knew that I was going to be held over for a little while after I graduated. So I had determined in my heart, I was like, I am going to see a doctor once I graduate AIT. So that's what happened. I went back to sick call, and I said, at this point, it's been almost going on 6 months that I've been sick. 6 months, going through the winter, exiting fall, going through all winter and into the spring, and I'm still, it feels like deathly sick. There were times during run days and AIT where we're doing hill sprints and different things where I'm literally grabbing for air, like grabbing at my chest. It felt like my lungs were gonna collapse. But I'm still pushing, not quitting, not giving up. That's what we're trained to do. We're trained to go hard. We're trained to not quit, no matter what our physical condition. And that's what I did. I pushed through and I didn't quit. I refused to quit, actually. And so once I graduated, I knew that I would have the time to actually see a doctor. So went back to the doctors and I said, look, I completed everything that you guys have asked me to. I completed basic training on time, first time go on everything in AIT. I need antibiotics and I need for you guys to figure out what the F is going on with me. So they finally issued me antibiotics, knocked that cough out that I had at least 6 months at this point, knocked it out instantly. Then they finally did a chest x-ray. Looked a little funny, but they said, you know, it's not too bad. The nurse was actually concerned that I had the pneumonia the entire time and it went undiagnosed. However, finally they said, okay, well, we need you to take some breathing tests done, because if you're passing out during runs and you're struggling to breathe and you've been sick with a cough for over or at least up to 6 months now, we need for you to get your breathing checked out. I said, okay, makes sense. Took the antibiotics, knocked it out, I took a breathing test done. I got a breathing test done rather. Come to find out, I'm an asthmatic. So I have asthma. I would never have guessed that I was suffering from asthma the entire time. My doctors had said to me, like, we're not even sure how you managed to graduate from basic training and AIT with a severe upper respiratory infection and asthma. Like, I have the kind of asthma where it doesn't matter if I'm doing physical activity or not. I have difficulty breathing because I have some type of blockage really in my airway that prevents me from breathing normally like everyone else. Who knew? So they're not sure when it developed. Based on my athletic history, I played softball, volleyball, basketball. I ice skate and do all types of physical activity. Never struggled, never had this issue. So yeah, the doctors were really just trying to figure out, like, when did this develop? How did it develop? I still have some more tests to undergo, but I finally last week. So let's fast forward. So all of that happened at AIT. Got diagnosed. I had an awesome command who allowed me to run in the gym on run days, because at that point I long completed AIT, long completed basic training. At this point, I'm a soldier with an MOS, okay? So it wasn't like, you know, I was still in training even though I lived there. So they allowed me to work on my breathing and work on my run in the gym. And then I would like do some sprinting and runs outside on the track occasionally. But I was really nursing my lungs because they had undergone so much damage over like the last, I mean, at this point we're looking at 7 or 8 months of just constant coughing, constant phlegm, chest congestion, headaches. My experience was so shitty. And it was shitty because I was sick and because I couldn't breathe. So if you guys hear frustration or disdain sometimes, it's not towards the Army. The Army is actually an awesome it's an awesome experience, and I think it provides a lot of people with a solid foundation. So anything that you hear in my voice is not geared towards the Army. It's actually geared towards my personal experience and my own personal health. So fast forward to today, I'm currently stationed in the Washington, D.C. metro area. My breathing had not improved at all, even with the inhaler that I had received. So I went back to the hospital and I said, hey, this is the bag of medication that I'm bringing from Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and nothing has improved whatsoever. So they did another breathing test, and come to find out, they re-diagnosed me, with asthma again. And they confirmed that it's not sports-induced asthma. So it's just the kind of asthma, it's just chronic. It's the kind of asthma that it persists regardless of my level of physical activity. So I just struggle to breathe, period. The challenge with that is, being in the Army can be demanding at times. So what she did was put me on an entirely new regimen of drugs and behaviors and things that I have to do. And I'm going to share what my regimen is currently and where I am on all of that in a minute. You can see it's really a lot. It's a lot. But we're trying to figure out, at this point, we're trying to figure out what works. We don't know what works. We don't know if my lungs are going to respond properly to this new regimen, but we're just trying it out for about 6 months, and then I'll be reevaluated to see if anything has improved. If not, we'll ramp it up. If so, we'll ramp it down. So right now I'm sort of in this observation phase where the doctors are sort of monitoring where I am. I'm so fortunate to be in the DC metro area because I have impeccable care, awesome doctors who specialize in pulmonary. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But this has been my experience. It has been very, very difficult, extremely traumatic, very stressful. Yeah, it's been a lot. And the stress and anxiety and the depression that came with it was really challenging. I've always been an athlete. I've always been on top of my game, physically, mentally, and in every other way. And so to come to basic training ready to go, only to be limited by my lack of ability to breathe, has been very, very challenging. Very challenging. Some of you may know or may not know what this is, but once you get to AIT and in some basic training units, it's a thing called student first sergeant. So basically you're like just under your drill sergeant. You're kind of like a liaison between your drill sergeants and your platoon. I was student first sergeant in AIT, absolutely loved it, loved my platoon. But I struggled because I was struggling with running. And I actually had a conversation with my drill sergeant and I asked him to remove me. I felt like if I couldn't lead from the front, then I didn't deserve to be in that position, even though I feel like I did a great job as student first. I love soldiers. I loved, again, my particular platoon and my company, because there were only 2 platoons at the time. We just had a great class and I enjoy leading them very, very much. Wasn't the best at it, but for damn sure wasn't the worst, and I really, really cared about them. But I think leaders should lead from the front. And if they can't, I think they need to step aside. And so that's what I did. And that was painful. That was really painful. So pray for me that I can find a solution to my breathing issue and somehow figure out a healthy way of like living with it, managing it, controlling it, getting rid of it. But that's where I am. This is where I am today. And I will give you guys more updates, of course. There were several questions asked in the comment section. I'm going to do a separate like Q&A video, but while I had a chance, I just wanted to give you guys an update on sort of my health and the condition that I'm dealing with, where I am, all of that jazz. Okay, so as I was saying, I'm on this new medication, and some of you may be wondering, one, how did you get into the Army with asthma? Well, I didn't know I had asthma. I didn't find out until almost a year into my training that I actually have asthma. It hasn't been confirmed whether or not this was something that has persisted in my life or it's something that developed recently and only got worse when I got sick. What I can say is, like I said prior to, is that I've played sports my whole life. I've never been diagnosed and I've never had an issue with breathing. So the second thing that you guys may be wondering is, so what type of regimen does the doctor have you on? So currently I have a maintenance inhaler, I have a rescue inhaler, and I do nasal rinses. And what else do I have? Oh, and I take what is this? I'll just put it down below. I forget the name of the medication, but it's like partly asthma, partly for allergies. I've never been allergic to anything. I don't have any seasonal allergies, but apparently asthma has similar triggers as people who suffer with allergies. So the medication is applicable in my case. So currently, every morning when I wake up, I take 2 puffs of my maintenance inhaler. In the evening, I take 2 puffs of my maintenance inhaler. In the evening, I also take the allergy medicine. Prior to PT, I do 2 puffs of my rescue inhaler, probably about 15 minutes before any type of rigorous physical activity. And I also carry it with me because it's likely that I'm going to need it. And the nasal rinses are in the morning when I get up and before I go to bed. Guys,